Finding love in the time of COVID presents new challenges. You've tracked several changes in the past few months to the dating landscape. Tell us what you're seeing.
I think the biggest trend we're seeing, which is what we're really excited about, is that the hookup culture is dying. And if it's not dying, it's dead. And I find this very interesting because I think pre-COVID, I call this, everyone was the Oprah of kissing. You know, you stay out to make out. You're just handing out kisses. Everyone gets a kiss. But now, because of safety precautions, everyone's being more mindful of who they show their affections, especially physical affections, with. And what's lovely coming out of this is a movement that we really champion on the Dateable podcast is #SoberFirstKiss. It's a more mindful first kiss without any sort of intoxication, and you're able to gauge more chemistry that way.
In what ways is it being redefined? You were mentioning that you're having more serious talks early on, the sober first kiss. Anything else you'd mention?
I think people are just way more mindful about what is it that they want. So this really relates to our idea of dating me first. We recently had an episode with a guest who suddenly found herself to be single right before shelter in place. And she chose this time to date herself first. And so she did a lot of personal development. Also just to figure out, what is it that I want in a relationship? Another popular episode we had was called Relationships. Do I even want one? So these are great ways to just know that the point is activities have paused, but your personal development and your emotions haven't paused. You can still progress in those areas.
What are the main concerns or issues that people seem to be bringing up on a regular basis during this time of COVID and quarantine?
We hear this a lot from a lot of our listeners who are maybe in their late 30s, early 40s, who feel like their life is on pause. Their biological clock is on pause.
Right.
I'm trying to find that partner in life. I'm trying to have kids. And now this is throwing a wrench into my timeline.
Right.
Another major challenge people are facing is this idea of false intimacy. And I find this really interesting, May, is that because you're talking to someone all the time, maybe on video chat, that you feel closer to them because maybe you're having deeper conversations.
Sure.
And what we've seen a lot of people do in the last few weeks, a lot of people are coming out of quarantine to meet each other for the first time, that the in-person chemistry is not matched with the virtual chemistry. So this false intimacy of just basically pouring out your heart and soul to someone over video and then meeting them in person and still feeling that distance of a stranger and not really feeling that chemistry anymore is a huge one we've been seeing too.
That's I would have never guessed that.
What we keep hearing from a lot of couples is they're having the conversations that they should have had years ago. So even though we're seeing a rise in divorce, these couples were never going to make it anyway. We're just speeding up the process. And this fail fast mentality right now is, I think it's perfection. People are getting into relationships faster and they're getting out faster. There's no wasting time. And why am I wasting time with this person? If I don't enjoy spending quarantine with this person on a daily basis, doing household chores and cooking in our Instapot, then sorry, honey, like this relationship is not going to work. So I think this is still it's positive. I think it just, the media likes to spin it as, oh my gosh, couples are fighting. They're all getting divorced. They were never going to make it in the first place. If they can't face their issues right now, they're not equipped to face them anytime later in life.
Fundamentally, we just don't know how to ask the question. And I think we're all asking the wrong question. Nobody knows what they're looking for.
Nobody does, right?
Nobody does, right? And then when you propose a question like that, what people end up giving you is the 10-year picture or the 20-year picture. Oh, I'm looking for marriage and kids. I think a lot of people say that, but are they really looking for that? Or do they think that is just the end result of countless relationships that they're going to be in? So I like to ask the question, what are you open to right now? And I learned this from my current relationship, where when we first met, he was recently divorced, and I kind of just knew that he wasn't going to jump into another relationship, even though he didn't explicitly say that. But I asked him, what are you open to? And he said, I'm open to love again. And I think that to me wasn't so much, oh, we're going to get married and have kids like next year, but it was more that his heart was open for that. And I think ultimately when we date, we're just looking for other people who are open to love, who are open to a healthy, committed relationship. They may not want that right away or are actually looking for that, but if their heart is open to it, you're on the right path.